The following is a KPB MediaWorks production.
Choose your fighter.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Beadworks podcast. You know what I'm saying? We here live and direct and in fact, you know, you may hear other voices in the back, but that's all background noise and all that good stuff. You know, this is actually my official podcast. I ain't take nothing from nobody, didn't borrow nothing. You know, this is just how I do. You know, I got some ill setups and stuff. You know, I got, you know, this COVID stuff. People have been working hard. You know, I put my money into this podcast. So hope y'all enjoy this first episode that I'm coming out. You know, the DCB podcast. You know, name pending. You know, it could change next week.
Oh my God! Stop stealing my stuff, Curtis. Why we always got to do this, man? Why, man? Guys, welcome to the KPB podcast. This is Optimus Prime here. I'm here with your favorite, your uncle, your swindler, DCB, Dynamic Custom Beadworks, Curtis. Curtis, what's up, man? What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
And I'm good, man. You know, the Heal DCB thing is still alive in effect, but we also got to do the hashtag wellness check. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing we got going on. So if you see a lot of negative things happening at FGC, you just hit them with the hashtag wellness check. Like my status about the Smash players when the Minecraft dude got announced. You know, the Smash players was all talking about, I ain't gonna play this game anymore. And I'm like, yo, Smash, you guys good? Hashtag wellness check. Just making sure you guys is all right. You know what I'm saying?
Check on the welfare people, man. People
and then shout outs to the homie Shin Blanca, Larry. You know, he a Falcons fan. You know, y'all know what happened when the Falcons played Dallas. I was like, yo, ATL, y'all good? Hashtag wellness check. You know what I'm saying? That's the new thing we doing now. You know what I mean?
Oh man, it never
you know ATL. You know ATL stand for all time losing. You know what I mean?
Oh man, this is gonna be a rough one. So, you are in a interesting spot in the community, right? You're like pretty much everyone loves you, which is kind of a hard thing to do in this community. Well, like everyone loves you for the most part. You've been all over. You still have your success with Dynamic Custom Beadworks. How did this all start for you? Like how did this all start for you?
The whole thing was, before I get into that, the whole view is, if you remember watching Luke Cage and you remember how Pop's barbershop was at Switzerland, like nothing bad goes on, you know, you keep it neutral with everyone. That's right. Just how I've been carrying myself from jump. Right. You know what I mean? You gotta be neutral with everybody if it comes to business and personal, you know. And the whole I can talk smack about you directly means I can ride with you. You know what I mean? You know how I treat y'all. You know, I can talk my smack, mess around with y'all. You know, we good people. You know, if I can't do that with you, then you know what I mean. Then I can't mess with you.
Right. Well, and even then, you're definitely the Switzerland of the FGC. You've just been very. I mean, you do it in such a way where you still have your opinions, you still have your thoughts and ideas, but you display them in a way where, hey, it's just me. I'm not here to offend you. You know, this is just how I rock, and people always respect you for it. So
right. But let's go back to, I want to say probably 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I was at ECT. ECT was like, I think ECT 3 was my first like actual like major event, because we've gone into a whole bunch of locals and XYZ because, Delaware FTC, Nas, Hitman, for all that don't know, Ninja CW was a Delaware original. Rest in peace to Ninja CW.
Rest in peace.
Boo, Decent, Cosmic, Brandon. That was like the core of the Delaware FTC. And, we used to travel up and down the East Coast. We would go to Battle Circuit every week. And we would also go to 8 on the Break every week as well, too. So we in the car rolling like 5-6 deep every Tuesday, Wednesday. Like coming up to New York, New Jersey, to grind and get better. And then, of course, we go down to Xanadu every like Friday, Saturday, especially for the monthlies and stuff, to get good for that too. But circa back 2011, going to ECT, I had got a bead from this dude who like way overcharged, but he was like doing it publicly and stuff. And then the missus came back and she was like, hey, she saw what I got. And she was like, we probably can do this. And so we got some stuff from, your local craft store and went from there. We just started building stuff. I gave a lot of stuff to the Delaware guys for free, their favorite characters, XYZ, and would go from there. I would also, when E was doing Copas, like Copa, his bar battles,
bar battles, Copa Commander,
at the Copa. I'm giving stuff out free to people, doing the whole like hip hop vibe type thing, like Wu-Tang Clan, where they're selling stuff out their trunk, before like stuff would hit store. I'm just giving stuff to free, like, yo, what character you like? Boom, here you go. Just spreading everything word of mouth, like, hey, where'd you get that from? Oh, you go see Curtis, he do all that stuff. And I think my breakout point was the very first final round I went to. I can't remember the year I think it was 2013 or 2014 was my first final round. And I went there. Hold on one sec. Got a little kid in the background.
It's quite all right.
All right, there you go. You want to say hello to everybody? You're too busy playing Sonic. Sorry to derail the story.
No,
she's beating the first. She's beating the first level of Sonic 1 on her own, and the second level of original Sega Genesis Sonic.
That's an accomplishment
on her own. And I'm just looking at her. I'm just like, and she's only 3, and I'm just like, well, here we go. It's all beginning.
That's it. She's gonna be Wombo Con with you in a few years.
Exactly. But go back to the story. Go to my first final round, and this is all before, artist alleys, the tables, and everything being like widely available to the FGC. I had me and the missus had made a bunch of characters. I had them in a cardboard box because I was working at Regal Theater at the time. And I took like some pretzel boxes back of me, and I filled them up with characters. And Coop, shout out to my OG from Maryland. He introduced me to Larry and put everything in motion. And Coop had influence. He's like, yo, just go to the middle of the ballroom and start and just sell. So I opened up shop in the middle of the ballroom, in the main ballroom, that final round, and sold out everything.
That's what's up. And that's when you were onto something. You were onto.
And then it literally was just like, I come back to her. I'm like, yo, we can make some legit cash here and do a service because the stuff wasn't widely available.
Right.
You know what I mean? So come Civil War 4 or 5, that was the first event that Trish came with me and we sold out a hotel room. And from then on, you know, she would come to events, and this is all still before we had tables and everything. We're making and selling everything out the hotel room. People would ask, like, yo, where'd you get that from? Like, go to this hotel, go to this room right here. Yep. They take care of you. And then it just caught on like wildfire. And then Big E, shout out to Eric Small. Summer Jam 7 was the first event I had a table at.
Okay.
So it was no more hustling out
no more out the back of the hatchback.
At the back of the hatchback, the hotel room, whatever. We making everything in person.
That's what's
up. So Summer Jam 7 was the first table Trish and I had, did very well, and it just went on from there. The beads introduced me to a lot of people. And the other thing is, way before Capcom Cup and, you know, all these leagues and, you know, companies coming into play and doing all these tours and everything, you know, pot bonuses weren't necessarily a thing at majors.
Right.
I always made sure, I told Larry, I told whatever event I was at, I was like, yo, put my table fee to whatever game doesn't have a pot bonus. So a lot of people don't know that I did a lot of pot bonuses for a lot of games.
Oh yeah.
Over the years.
We know that. We definitely knew you did. You always put in, you always gave back to the community. It wasn't like just a money grab for you. Yeah.
Right. That was the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, you know, money makes the world go round and everything, but the community was letting me do what I wanted to do, so I didn't have to work a traditional 9 to 5 or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Where I can make some cash, be all right. Hi, baby. Here you go. Go sit down and play with some Play-Doh. So, yeah, the community allowed me to do what I needed to do, supported me, so I gave back. You know, that's just how you're supposed to do everything. You know, you got to give back to the community, the players, and make sure everybody's taken care of. You know, that's just how I was raised up on, you know, because we all know this, you know, compared to like the other esports and everything, you know, the FGC is fighting over nickels and dimes.
Right.
Compared to, you know, your League of Legends, CSGO, Call of Duty, Fortnite, et cetera, et cetera. You know,
bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
Been. So what about Curtis before DCB? I know you had to have. You're a gamer. You recognize the gaming community. Was it always just fighting games for you? Like, what are your gaming influences? Like, what did you grow up on?
See, it was not always about fighting games for me. Yeah, I was competitive and all, but shout outs to my older brother. My older brother is the one that got me into video games to begin with. Take it back to like circa 80s when all three of us, well, actually all four of us lived in the house together at the time. I had my own room, but my brothers had the whole attic of the house. So there was like 4 different rooms in the attic, and they all had beds and stuff. And they had a Nintendo Entertainment System. And the
NES.
Yeah, the NES. So when they were out of the house and I was in the house with like my dad or my mom, I'd sneak up into the attic to play games. You know, I'd be very careful about their stuff because, you know, it's older boys and everything. You know, there's roughhousing, you know, and, you know, if anything got, you know how it go, man.
Yeah.
You getting beat up by your older brothers for touching the stuff, messing up stuff. You know, that's just what it was. But then one day he see me playing Super Mario or whatever, and pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling, yeah.
And the classics, man. And yeah, they would beat my ass in these games, but I still would play. You know, my brother would always pick King Slender. I would never. He always picked King Slender with the backbreaker.
Yep.
Hit me backbreaker like 20 times before he pinned me. You know, it's already done. Like after like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's already done.
It's already done.
Pour salt in the wound.
But you know, it just would have me keep coming back. And then eventually, my mom, rest in peace, my mom was a principal. So education was always first and foremost in the house before anything. And she didn't care what y'all did. As long as the grades was on point, no one was on drugs, no one was on alcohol. But she would support any and all habits as long as grades was on point. So eventually she got me my own NES, so I didn't have to sneak in my brother's room and stuff. But my brother was a serious influence, just about everything like me, because for my brothers, there's 18 to 21 year age gap between us. So technically they all could be my fathers if you want to view it like that. But a lot of their influences is what helped raise me and how the standards that I adhere to this day. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. Yeah.
But as far as like gaming, y'all know I like my beat 'em ups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm heavy in the Streets of Rage, heavy in the River City Ransom.
Yes. Like
all that stuff. Because like I said, Golden Axe was another classic on the Genesis. I was a Genesis kid growing up.
Okay.
I was there was a lot of gamers in the community in my neighborhood, but I was a one Genesis kid. Everyone else was on Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo, you were the one outcast.
Right. But games all day. You know, I go over there to play Super Nintendo, then people come to my crib to play.
That last part, could you repeat? Because you had like a little freeze.
Oh, sorry. The community I grew up in, everyone was on Super Nintendo grind. Mm-hmm. I was the only Genesis kid. But you know, kids growing up, you know, you can go to each other's houses, hang out, chill, play games and stuff. So if they want to play Super Nintendo, we go to another person's house. But if we want to play Genesis, everyone coming over to my crib.
Right.
And the other thing is we had carpet in the house, so you had no shoes on in the house. And you left all your shoes at the door. And when my mom would get home from work, my mom, like I said, my mom didn't care how many people were over as long as no house party or nothing.
Right.
But you always can count the pairs of shoes of how many people were over in the house.
Definitely. And she let you rock as long as you by her rules, kept your grades up. That's cool, man. I know my mom would flip out. I had more like the one person in the house, man.
Nah, my house, I was one of the hubs in the community, because if we weren't at like two other people's houses, everyone would be at my crib. We'd be gaming or we playing basketball outside, just shooting around or playing manhunt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I mean there was a good balance of stuff between staying indoors and playing outdoors. You know, it wasn't like, hey, we're just gaming all day 24/7.
Right, definitely.
You know?
Like compared to today's generation, I think these kids can sit in front of some sort of screen for 24 hours. And I think like for us, we're older. We did stuff outside too. I enjoyed playing tag and manhunt. You know, all the other street games we did, you know, and well into my teens, you know, we did make a balance, because there is a time for like camaraderie and friendship away from gaming and away from, you know, electronics and those kind of things. Kind of just like enjoying the outside world together, you know, and what happens.
Because I mean, another thing, my mom, you know, of course we get in trouble, and she knew that taking away, like, oh, you can't go outside. I could do anything else, but I couldn't go outside.
That would hurt.
I was grounded. I could sit there, play games, watch TV, but I could not go outdoors.
And that really, it hurt. You think, yeah, okay, so what? I'm home. No, you want to actually go out and interact with people.
Right. Everyone else is having fun, and you're just like, nope.
having to play Ninja Gaiden and it pisses you off and
right. But yeah, fighting games wasn't all about me. I played everything,
right.
but what got to me was shooters, FPS games.
Okay.
That's where my first taste of like actual competition was.
What was your first FPS?
My first FPS was Return to Castle Wolfenstein on PC.
Oh, nice.
Not Wolfenstein 3D and all that stuff. It was Return to Castle Wolfenstein on PC. Hold on one second, guys.
She's so adorable. This break has been brought to you by Dynamic Custom Beadworks. Check them out at dynamiccustombeadworks.com. We should get like a discount code. Discount code DCBcast.
There you go. Say hello. You want to say hello, Rodney? No? Okay.
Ouch. Ouch. Just like his daddy. So mean to
You
me.
want to just sit here? Okay. But yeah, Return to Castle Wolfenstein 3D. No, Return to Castle Wolfenstein was my first FPS that I took legitly serious because TWL and Cal were both leagues, and they had different levels of competition.
Mm-hmm.
They had the beta, alpha, and the invite. So when you're first starting out, you go into beta league, and all the games were 6v6. So you're running with clans and stuff, and everyone had like their different specialty. And before even being known as DCB with a Dynamic Custom Beadworks, my gamer tag is Sixshot.
Okay.
And Sixshot, if you don't know, is a Decepticon from Transformers.
Yes.
Arguably my favorite Transformer, and I still have the toy to this day, which is sitting on my ledge.
Nice.
If you, I can grab it real quick. Hold on.
Just some history here. Sixshot. I have not seen that toy in like ever. Oh man.
It's this thing right here.
Yeah.
This is my persona, the still Transformer. And the reason why I picked him as a handle was because he can transform in 6 different things. And me, I can play whatever spot. I was a flex person, so I can play whatever spot was needed for the clan. I'm like, hey, you need me to snipe? Cool. You need me to do engineer to blow up stuff? Cool. You need me to just soldier around and kill people? Got you.
That's what's up.
So it was an open for a couple seasons, and then we go into the alpha leagues, and then we get into invite. And if you didn't know, RTCW was a Quake game, pretty much. This is when Quake 3 Arena was hot, was like on fire.
Now, let me ask you for a second, real quick, just to throw you off just a little bit. I got to access. I know from my experience back then, I was a bit of a CSGO. This Counter-Strike before it was CSGO.
Right.
I played that a little Team Fortress back in the early Half-Life days and stuff like that. I know for a fact that there wasn't many brothers on the scene that played FPSs. How was that for you? Were you like the only, black guy?
Yeah.
There, like
I was like, truth be told, I was like one of like 10 black people that played this game.
in like the whole community?
And like the whole community. And, we go to QuakeCon every year.
Mm-hmm.
And, before QuakeCon became what it is now, when it was still like the BYOC, bring your own computer, do the giant LAN, do tournaments and all that stuff. And, I was like one of like 10 black people there. And I think it's like it didn't bother me because it was just like I grew up in an area where diversity was a thing. I had a lot of white friends, a lot of Asian friends, a lot of Puerto Rican friends, a lot of Spanish friends, some French, Irish, XYZ, Filipino.
Yeah, the whole melting pot.
The literally whole melting pot, and that's why I'm the way I am, because I'm open minded. I was not raised, to dislike, hate, based on their color of skin, religion, sexuality, XYZ, because I have friends
that serve all those spots.
That serve everything. Right. Even in high school.
And even then, I know you're not like that, but were you treated any different when people
in some cases, yeah, because it is what it is. People look at the color of the skin before they actually get to know you, and then people would be like, oh, he can't do this, and when people talk that SHIT, it kind of like fuels you to be like, all right, I hope I see you in a tournament. You know what I mean? I was like,
this show is definitely geared for mature audiences. So say how you want to say it.
Because I can't, because
yeah, of course, right? Obviously, yeah.
It is right behind.
She's gonna pick up enough bad habits from you already. So.
Right, exactly. Like, she already got my mouth as is, and I'm just waiting until she gets older. I get that call from the principal's office or whatever, teacher, be like, Mr. Best, do you know what your daughter said to me? And I'll be like, and I'm play dumb, like, no, I don't know what she said to you, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what she said. And that part of me is gonna be that proud father, but then I'm gonna have to do something and be like, hey, you can't be saying that, you know what I mean? But when people talk that smack, in shooters, it hit a lot harder than it does in fighting games. You know what I mean? Because the smack talk in a shooter game is above and beyond the stuff that FGC says, because it is what it is. You know how it goes when you play these Call of Duty.
Anyone ever had an Xbox?
Have you ever had an Xbox? Have you played Halo?
Within the first 2 seconds, somebody's telling you the N-word and like, hey, calm down. You didn't even know who I am. Man.
Right. Exactly.
So I definitely get it.
So yeah, I mean, I was surrounded, like, my whole team was all white people. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. You prove yourself by when you sit in the chair with your keyboard and mouse and you go to work, and they treated me as I treated them. That I treat you how you treat me. And that's what my mom preached. She's like, treat others how you want to be treated.
And which you definitely carried to this day and into the FGC. So what got you specifically? What tuned you into fighting games? Like, what was the fighting game that did it for you?
It was the very first fighting game that I actually sat, like, I grew up in the arcade era. And, Street Fighter 2 was an arcade. Everyone was lined up for it. It was crazy.
Right.
I love me some Street Fighter. But I think when it became Super Turbo, that's what fully drew me in on the Capcom side of things, and plus Mortal Kombat was still around, was like out and about. Mm-hmm. So, but I never was really into, I play MK, but I wasn't into MK. Like, Street Fighter is what brought me in. Super Turbo. And then we get to the, when the Alpha series came out, Alpha 2 probably was another game that I really enjoyed. So it was like, it was Super Turbo and Alpha 2 were probably my favorite two of the whole franchise. And then Alpha 3 came out, was really into that. And then Samurai Showdown 1. Okay. Sam Show was another game that I really, really loved because of the character diversity. The moves, graphics was hitting, Neo Geo was, or SNK, whatever you want to call it, was trying to emulate what Capcom was doing. Right. So going to arcades and being one in the arcade, I was one of the top players in the arcade. When people see me, they'd be like, "Oh man, here he is."
Yeah, I know that feeling. You regard at your local arcade, local bodega.
Yeah. Right. When you're
Oh
the
man,
god
I'm
of your
tired.
local arcade, and I had 3 arcades by me, so I go to one because I dominated my local, but then I go to the other arcade to play the best of the best over there, and I go back and forth with people over there. You know, they give you the nod of respect and everything,
Right.
and you know we start chopping it up about games and life because you know that's what the arcade scene was. You know, it was like
You made friends.
it was a you made friends in
You made
arcade.
friends
You
over
know,
war. So it was
right?
war first, and then friends. Shoot first,
Like,
talk later.
hey, like, and you know, arcades is the original money match. You know, like,
Yeah.
hey, while this game's going on, friendships on hold. You know, after this,
Yeah.
we could talk, chop it up, and all that stuff. But while we playing, I gotta take you off these sticks. You know,
When was the first time you was humbled in a fighting game where you said, "Damn, I'm not that good as I thought I was"? Because I think we all
playing.
go through that when we're good in our locals and we beat all our friends and we can beat mostly everyone in our neighborhood. But then you come across that player and that player humbles you so bad and like you really have to rethink how you play the game.
I thought I was the shit at X-Men vs Street Fighter. I had my Ryu and Cyclops was on point, and then some dude showed up, never seen him before. He straight washed me, and it wasn't just like, all right, I'm doing the best I could, you know, like, all right, the first game, all right, you know, blah blah. The second game, second and third game, I was like, this dude is really, all right, you know, I gotta dial it back a little bit, you know what I mean, and rethink your stuff, and you know, you take, like I tell people, you're gonna take L's. You're always gonna take an L in the fighting game.
Always.
It's always the matter of fact that the question in the L was, what can you do better? How can you go forward to get better than the person? And what can you learn from the experience? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just how I view an L. And that's what I told the guys. I'm like, look, ain't no one. I'm like, we all gonna take some hard L's in this day. And yeah, there's people you should lose to, and there's other people you should have that you who are naturally better than you.
Right.
But I tell people, I'm like, look, especially in this day and age where everything's recorded, so you can actually go back and like look at a YouTube video or a highlight or whatever, and like sit there and actually analyze what you did wrong, because you know back in the day there was none of that.
None of that. So
So
it's like this happened. This was like before FGC, right? This is like
right.
You get this debilitating loss, and like what do? You push through. Do you want to learn more? Do you eventually beat this guy? Do you see this guy again?
He ran through the arcade.
Okay.
And I kept playing him, and I eventually did beat him, but it took me a little bit. And, you know, afterwards we chopped it up, and I was just like, hey, how do you do what you're doing? He's just like, you know, we're talking about data, this, that, and everything. He's like, well, what you were doing was, you know, this is punishable. That's not, you know, I was like, you know, before.
So he's hitting you for the first time with data talk, right? This is new to you?
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Okay, so he's hitting you with like you're negative, and you're like, what?
Yeah. That, like, I did not, like, for the longest time, I did not know that was like a thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the whole data and all that stuff. I was just like, I was a person that looked at what I saw on the screen before frames and everything, and you can kind of tell, like, hey, you can get this looks like has some recovery, or this should be punishable, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? But I did not know there was like so much depth into a fighting game.
I think for me, the first character that made me think about data before I even knew what data and frames were was fighting against Sakura in Alpha 2. I think she had a lot of like plus moves, a lot of like what we now call plus moves and stuff. But like we used to look at her and say, the word we used to use at the time was, "Wow, she has no recovery in the stuff that she's doing," and like especially with the tattoos, and you know we were like, "Damn, it's really hard to fight her. What do you do?" You know, because every time I try to do something, she's hitting me. You know, and that's when before I heard of the frame data terminology that we use today.
Right.
That was the first character that made me think about what am I doing, because I'm like, damn, I can't do anything against this character. And for that reason, I hated fighting Sakuras and Naruto for a long time. You know, and then of course we go on and we get involved in FGC, and then we learn more things as we go. So so now at this point you're kind of like, this is X-Men Street Fighter years. When do you what are the things that start like happening for you to get involved in the FGC community, at least locally?
So what happened was, I knew 8 on a Break existed in Jersey because I'm originally from North Jersey, but I never got to go down there, especially because I was at Rutgers too, and that's the thing that hits most, because I was like, I'm at Rutgers and this great arcade and tournament stuff that's going on is like a hop, skip, and a jump away. So I had no clue about that, and I also went to school at Morgan State in Baltimore, Maryland. So the mall had an arcade, and I know I came across like Rugal, Steve Harrison, Coop, and all of them at like time and time again at the arcade, but I wasn't buddy with them. It wasn't until I saw them like later on in Xanadu that I was like, we like chopped it up. They're like, didn't you used to go arcade in Maryland? I was like, and at the mall, I was like, yeah. When I was in school, they were like, that's why you look so familiar.
You were beating them, or they were beating you at the time?
No, they were beating me. Like they are gods at CBS 2, Marvel, Street Fighter, or like everything they were touching, they were amazing at Marvel 2 and all that stuff. But as far as getting involved in the FGC, it hit when I moved to Delaware in 2008. 2008, I moved in Delaware. Then, of course, you know, Street Fighter 4 comes out in 09. So for intensive FGC purposes, I'm technically an 09er.
All right.
Technically. But I played, you know, your old school games, so they call me an OG 09er.
Right. Is
how I would label myself.
I guess I'm in the same boat, because I didn't participate in the community for many years before Street Fighter 4 came out. But I knew even in the 90s, I used to read about John Choi, Mike Watson, Ricky Ortiz, Arturo Sanchez in the late 90s in magazines. You know,
you know, you read all about them guys in the magazines, and you're just like, man, you know, this is kind of crazy.
I basically grew up watching Sanford play Tekken 3, you know, before he was known as a Capcom guy. You know, stuff like that. He played KOF 98 too. So it's like we all had that journey, you know, of different ways we get here, and yours is just as unique as everyone else's. And you get here, it's 2009. Street Fighter 4 is in the house. What happens next?
Street Fighter 4 is in the house. You know, I go to my local GameStop, and that's where I meet Boog and Decent for the first time, like ever.
Was it you just bumped into them, or was it during the?
They were at the GameStop. You know, the GameStop. You know, they had their little tournament and stuff, and you know, I went all out for Street Fighter 4. I bought the game, then I bought that, you know, the tournament stick that came that they released, that first one for 360, because that's what I was playing on. It didn't have a PS3 at the time.
Was that the horrible one before Mad Catz came in and fixed it?
Nah, that was official Mad Catz one.
There was one that one that came out that was really bad, and then Mad Catz kind of fixed theirs and made it
like that first initial one with the Street Fighter 4 with the white buttons.
The TEs.
Yeah, the TEs.
Yeah. There was a stick before the TEs. No,
Nah,
that was
I
like
bought
horrible.
myself. Yeah, the stick before a TE was terrible. Yeah, I remember that. But now I got me official TE stick, and because that's what I was used to playing Street Fighter was on stick. You know, a whole arcade thing. Like, yeah, I played on pad for a little bit, but I was just like, stick feels more natural for Street Fighter. Like, to be honest, Tekken's the only game I'll play on. I'll play on pad. Everything else is strictly stick. Because Tekken on PS2 PlayStation pad is very normal and feels right for me because that's all I played Tekken on was on pad.
Right.
Street Fighter was always on stick and arcade and all that. And so I get the stick and everything, you know, decent and boo. And plus, this is back when the SRK forums were on and popping.
Right. SRK forums that have been popping for years, actually.
Yeah.
It used to be a very active forum. I don't know about today, but
because you remember SRK forums was where everybody went to talk about meetups and tactics and techniques and articles and XYZ. So that's where I found out that Delaware actually had a little bit of fighting game scene because I hooked up with them. And then I was introduced to Nas and Ninja CW because we go to Nas's house every Friday and play in his basement. And, you know, we run there from Friday night. It'd literally be from like 6, 7 p.m. to like 3 to 5 a.m. like religiously every Friday night. And you're playing like the first to death sets with everybody. Like you're trying to get good at you're trying to do this, that, and the other thing. But it's when Marvel 3 came out is when the Delaware scene kind of thrived because Nas was more into anime. He played Blaze Blue, Melty Blood. You know, that's where he knows Arturo and Spooky and all them from Melty Blood days and all that. So Marvel 3 comes out. That's when new people started coming out to the Delaware scene. And then when it turned into Ultimate, that's when even more new people started coming out. And, you know, Street Fighter kind of went to the back end because everyone was playing that Marvel 3. Like, everyone was playing that Ultimate. And, you know, Nas and Boo were literally our best two people in Marvel.
I remember when Boo came up to Bums one year and won the whole thing.
Yep.
And I'm like, how y'all lose to DMV like that, man? Like, y'all supposed to be the gods. And I believe you went off about it too. I think you might have, you know, popped off a little bit about it. But yeah, I definitely remember, you know, when Kenny came up.
Yeah, Boog decent. They were like, yeah, we're going up to the house. And I was like, I was going to go, but I had to do some other stuff. So they went up there and Boog ran through the house. Yeah, and Boog was like legitimately our best person, but he would always squander in pools, like drown in pools.
One of those.
So he was always one of those people. Like he could play and hang with some of the top talent, you know, and take games off of them, but he would always drown in pools. Like he beat Noel Brown. He beat Noel unknown PZ, I think. Because, you know,
those are some names. Those are some Northeast names that people don't know, man. That was a Marvel. Those are Marvel names up there, man. You know, there's a big rivalry between the East and the West. I think collectively over a larger area, we had a lot of better players.
And we told people, and people didn't know. I was like, don't let Boog have a X Factor level 3 Wolverine, because he will make this comeback with Wolverine. And he was legitimately one of the first people, like one, if not one of the only people that made Wolverine look amazing with X Factor level 3.
Wolverine is amazing.
He had all his combos down in point. When X Factor hit, and I'm like, you're not blocking. And of course, the little slide into the DMs, as we called it, OTG, like slide into the DMs, OTG.
Yep.
I'm like, here we go. Man, he legitimately was one of the best Wolverine players, and Delaware's character was always Taskmaster.
Okay.
Everyone in Delaware had a Taskmaster. Even I had a Taskmaster. Wasn't a great Taskmaster, but everyone in Delaware had knew how to play Taskmaster at some degree and at point. You know what I mean?
There was a lot of little Northeast rivalries in Ultimate. Where would you rank Delaware in terms of region? You got New York, you got Philly, you got the Northeast.
I'm always gonna say New York was number one when it came to Marvel. Mm-hmm. Like New York was always number one in anything for the most part.
For a minute, yeah. And
then it would go down to the DMV because Unknown, PZ, and Hoshin were solid. Were solid players from there. Philly, you had Demon Hio, Felix,
Geobron,
and Greek. Who was the only? I can't remember his name for the life of me. Played Ken. Got top 8 at Evo.
Oh my god! I think I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
Fuck.
Oh, man.
His name slips the hell out of me, but I see him when I come to events, so the region and the areas had a lot of good talent.
Yes.
But some reason Cali would always edge out people.
Yeah, Cali had that the first champion was Viscount. Viscount was the first Evo champion. Then I think it went to Flocker the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Flocker? Then who? Champ?
Yeah, it's Flocker, Viscount, Flocker, Champ,
Wong. Then I guess it was KBR.
KBR,
Chris, and then Ryan V.
Chris
LV.
And Ryan
LV.
Ryan LV.
Yeah, so those are like considered like the gods, more or less, more over the course of its duration. But you definitely had some guys out for the. I used to it was like a freeway going to a biggie event. I remember the one year. I think it was the year Ultimate came out, and they weren't prepared for the registration at the Sheridan, and it was
Lord no.
It was like 5-6 o'clock, and they're still registering people. The tournament didn't even start yet. I remember like it didn't finish. The pools didn't finish until like maybe 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Because I remember that year because that's when like everybody came out. It wasn't just like, nowadays it takes like these big money draws and everything to get people to show out. Like, hey, a tournament has to be in like the Capcom Pro Tour or Tekken.
Right. Or has a $1,000 pop bonus.
Has to have this pop bonus, to get people to come out. Because, back in them days, there wasn't all that coming around. And
because the money you spend going to the event, you probably break even coming in the first place.
Right.
But now, I get it. Yeah, it kind of spoiled the competitiveness when like people won't come out now if there's not a pop bonus involved.
Mm-hmm.
But that as much of a nightmare was for that to happen in the event. I think it's kind of the thing you kind of sort of want to happen, right? Like in a sense, you kind of want there's so many people coming out to the event to win and compete. And I know that definitely your region was great in like the team tournaments. You guys had a lot of synergy definitely in that department. And you will win or place high in a lot of those team tournaments. When they were huge, there was like 20, 30 teams, involved. And it was always like, Maryland boys, up there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't like a killer New York City team that won it, or maybe sometimes the West Coast team would come out.
Right. Because I'm like, we go to Xanadu legitly, if it wasn't a monthly, because, Xanadu used to host weekly events every Friday and Wednesday before all this stuff happened with Spooky blowing up NYC. There was the weekly that was going on in Xanadu that, the New York cats would come down to.
Right.
So we were getting a lot of exposure to the New York players because, New York would come down, and then we come up there to play them and stuff. So there's a lot of experience that was given to us, and we were fortunate to have that experience. But New York would always do the thing, and then Maryland would do their thing. I mean, Boo would only win a Xanadu if Peasy wasn't there, because other than that, it was just like if Peasy there, Peasy's gonna wash all of us. It's like Peasy, Hosh, and Unknown, and Meat. Those were like the top 4 people in the Maryland, Virginia scene when it came to Marvel. It was just like these 4 guys is here. It's gonna be a bloodbath. But fortunately enough, experiences with them showed us a lot. But it's always like the locals, man. That's what I tell people. I'm like, local tournament. I'm like, if you have a local, go out and support your local.
Right.
Because locals always brought out people, and you would come across people that you would not see ever, or it's their first time. You gotta make them feel welcomed and stuff. To get people to keep coming back. But I miss those classic days.
We all do, man. This is the hype.
In the car traveling. Before we had kids. Because that's what most of us upper Delaware. That's what we have as kids.
Right.
Like me, Boo's got 2. I have my little girl. Decent got into a serious relationship, so that pulled him away for a little bit.
It is what it is. It's life. Life. Continues. Still
life
happens.
Yeah. Like we still trying to get together here. Like we were getting together here and there just before COVID all hit and everything. And I know Decent and Boo still play face to face, and they'll do the online stuff, but we haven't had a in-person meet in a long time when it was just all the Delaware boys just together. And I like I said, I miss them Friday nights. I get off of work and go straight over to Knox's house after work. Call the missus. Be like, hey, how everything good? Cool. I see you sometime in the AM. And that's the one thing I would say I was blessed with is my wife. She always would support everything, and she always had my back. And that's awesome. Rare to find in these days is someone that's ride or die.
Of course, it's important. It's so important to have someone that supports you. Especially when you're on this path, not realizing that what you're doing is gonna grow and expand, and become something beautiful. And in the case of you, when does this artwork become Dynamic Beadworks? Like you're in the community, you're known as the bead guy right now. You're heavily invested in the Delaware scene. You travel, play a little bit, go to events. When does DCB start to happen and unfold? Like
when DCB starts to unfold, it was like probably like 2014ish. Like after I done traveled everywhere, after I meet every TO, this, that, and the other thing, because like I said, E gave me my first table at Summer Jam 2000 at Summer Jam 7. Mm-hmm. Then NEC rolls around. That's the NEC that Larry comes to for the first time, because that was actually my first final round. Like my second final round, he gave me a table. At the very second final round I went to, I had a table with them. Then that opened up going out to NorCal Regionals, hanging out with Choi, Seglia, and Kaneda. So it just all goes full circle. So I meet them, go out there, then NCR opens up going to Northwest Majors, hanging out with Chris and Alex and all of them guys. And I'm just getting around and around.
You were just jet set at this point. You're everywhere, man.
Then comes in Gaming Generations. And if you don't know Gaming Generations is a company that provides all the tournament systems for just about every major Smash event for CEO, Evo, Combo Breaker. And I get met with Evan. Love that guy to death for me. Evan is the one that got me into Evo, my very first Evo.
Okay.
Because before Artist Alley was a thing, I was working out at a Gaming Generation booth. Like, he gave me a table in the back because, you know, Gaming Generation sells Evo like all the Evo merch and stuff,
right? And
also prior equipment and everything. So he gave me a table. He gave us a table in the back, and that introduced me to the Evo experience for the first time.
Nice. Before,
like I said, before Artist Alley was there, I'm like one of two artists before Artist Alley was a thing at Evo. And it was always like a staple. Like, I become like household in FGC, and people always expected us to be at an event. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hey, you see that DCB logo on stream? You know, they there in some capacity. Whether I'm just like there chilling at a table or hanging out or whatever, I'm always there. So it's probably like 2013, 2014 when, you know, it goes from me being known as DCB or Curtis, if you want to call me by my government and all that stuff. So that's probably that, you know.
That's what's up. You mentioned Evo a couple of times. I know there's a lot of people in our community that never got to go to an Evo, and you've been to a few. Like, what is, you know, forget all the drama of this year about that. Drama aside, what is Evo like compared to other events?
Evo is an experience. I tell people to go to Evo. If you haven't ever been to the Evo, just go to Evo one time, just to experience it out. You know, yeah, it's in Vegas, and like everyone thinks that you can just, there's nothing to do to gamble in Vegas, which is not the truth. There's a whole lot of stuff to do in Vegas. But Evo, from a fighting game player standpoint, probably the hardest tournament to win because it's random. Like, your first few pools are random. And especially if you have an early morning pool, there have been cases where people don't show up to the early morning pool, and in some cases you only fight like two matches and you're out of pools. You know, I've seen it and heard it happen.
Definitely.
Like I said, it's the most randomest and hardest tournament to win. But you can make a name for yourself.
Definitely.
At Evo, just because of the sheer numbers, and if you drop someone important at a tournament and the losers and stuff, it can solidify you.
That's
you know,
right.
But
I've definitely seen it where Evo is probably the one tournament where there's always a guaranteed upset.
Mm-hmm.
In some game, in each game, probably there's an upset.
Yeah.
You know, the way it is. Like, that's, for me, that's always been one of the more exciting things. Even if you don't go to Evo, just to watch it and hear that, oh, your favorite player got bodied, you know, in pools, or didn't make it out of top, you know, 128 or whatever, when they're projected to be a top 8 finalist, stuff like that. And so that's always been, because you get for a lot of people, that's their only event. Right. So it's two things, right? It's people that are in the community that don't go at all. And then there are people who are in the community, sort of in the community. This is the only event they go to. So these are like unknown players that are in these pools that no one knows, upsetting you. And that's not even including, you know, the international players, which you love to praise. Right. And we'll get into that, definitely. You know, but yeah, that's definitely, like you said, an experience to behold.
Because you had XYZ person, you know, this is the only event they go to, like you said. Then you have the international folks coming out deep to Evo, and you know, you got your well-known international players that, you know, you got international player that you never heard of putting up counts of dropping bodies
Putting in
left
work.
and right. You're just like, who's this person?
It was like Tekken Master giving Sonic fits.
Right.
Was it Evo 2016? Giving him fits. You know, he had my man take off his whole gear, which is something he never did. He never broke a sword on anybody, and here he is. You know, he's always smiling. For those who don't know, Sonic Fox, one of the best Mortal Kombat players in our community. The dude usually won through a tournament smiling the entire time. This guy, named after a game he's not even playing. His name is Tekken Master, and he's pushing this guy to the limit. He takes the game off in finals, wipes the guy's smile off his face. You know, the guy basically takes off his clothes and gets serious. You know, to finally gut it out. But
it's like he's saying up, you know. But also, the other thing is Sonic's from Delaware.
Oh yeah, of course, yes. Yes.
Sonic's from Delaware, Dragon's from Delaware. So I tell people when we mess around, they're like, that Delaware hidden temple, hidden land of Delaware be producing killers. You know,
man, definitely.
But like I said, Evo, if you don't go, you just go to one just to
just to
get
say
a feel for it. Just to say like, hey, I've been to an Evo.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, man. As we were saying, you know, we get to the internationals and international play, and for us in the community, you know, there's no secret that on a worldwide stage we get whooped by international players, particularly the Japanese players. Now, this is where you come in, and if I had to guess, this is when you're basically fed up with American gameplay. You're tired of rooting for the wrong team. When does this start for you? When do you go to these events and you get the flag and you know what? It's time to be a turncoat.
All right. Here's what happened. Like, let's take it back a little bit, because I always, you know, gambling's always a thing at an FGC event.
Right. For those that don't know.
For those that don't know, there's always money to be made
and exchanged.
And you know, we had that whole side bet community in any major before, especially before the whole esport era and everything. You know, I don't watch.
We still do it. We still do it today.
We still do it, but it's not as much as it used to be. So I remember, this is the one big thing. I remember at I think it was the East Coast. It was an East Coast Throwdown. This is back when Team Complexity was the thing with Champ, Champ, Combo Fiend, Mike Ross were all on Complexity.
Okay, Complexity. Yes, I remember Complexity.
And I remember it was Sanford versus Mike Ross. And
this is Street Fighter.
Yeah, this is Street Fighter 4.
Okay.
Game was on main stage or whatever. The match was on main stage. I'm sitting up front. You know, all of New York's there. Combo Fiend and Champ sitting in the front row. Wong in the other side and all this stuff. And I just scream out, "Who likes Sanford?" Everyone turned at me like, "You really about to bet against the king on this? On Mike Ross's Honda?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll go with it. I'll ride West Coast till proven otherwise." Because I was like, they came over here for a reason and about to win this tournament. So I took all bets against Sanford. And shout out to the homie Sanford. He's still my homie to this day. We talk about wrestling and everything. Mike Ross washed Sanford's cigar. Everyone looked at me. I had the biggest grin on my face, and I don't want to disclose how much money I collected, but let's just say it was enough. My weekend
to cover your expenses for the weekend.
Yeah, my whole weekend was paid for off that whole one match. And everyone just looked at me. They're like, you really just did that. I was like, hell yeah, I just did that. I was like, I'll do it again in a heartbeat. And, you know, we just sitting up there exchanging money left and right. And the whole principle of the whole side bet thing is a handshake is a legal binding agreement.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
In the FTC. If it's whether a physical handshake or the air handshake, it is a legal binding contract that I've seen people duck out of time and time again.
Oh, of course, of course.
But you always make sure you pay up your debts and all. But, you know, after a while, you get tired of seeing your favorite American players just getting beaten by international players left and right. And the reason why is because my belief on why American players are getting beat by international players, because American players like hide information from one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're just trying to
win,
be better,
yeah.
Just want to win. If you looked at like Daigo, Mago, Taquito.
Yo, those three would enter a tournament and be guaranteed top 3. That's how strong they were all the time.
You're looking at Fudo and all them, and you looking at like Japanese like Twitch and all that stuff, and you just see them all in their like tournament or whatever. Yeah, they're grinding it out, but they're exchanging information with one another.
They play and train with each other. You know, it's
right.
crazy. You know, and you mentioned what, four of the 5 gods, which is we left out Haitani.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm like, you looking at all them. They're like playing, training, exchanging information. Like nothing's being held back.
Right.
With them, and even if they don't know you or whatever, you're over there. You're getting information as well too, and I'm just like, why don't we have this over here? And I'm like, why don't y'all exchange and try to help each other out? Nah, everyone's all got their own agenda. Like, don't get me wrong, I know everyone has their own agenda and everyone's trying to be the best of the best, but I'm just like, if you want to get good, you're gonna have to go through the gods or someone else for another country,
right?
And XYZ, and I'm just like, I'm getting tired of y'all Americans just.
And they dominated. They dominated.
Right.
I think the only one that I, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, that gave someone like Daigo a really substantial loss was like out of all people like Jago and like Caesar's beatings, you know.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So it's like and that's the only like rules. I'm sure they've lost maybe once or twice, if not to each other. Maybe someone had a good day, but those guys for years dominated the Street Fighter 4 scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pretty much to the end. You know,
and you know, you just get. I was just like, I'm tired of cheering for y'all. I'm cheering for them. And then what topped it off is when because you know, I kept saying, you know, America's never gonna win Street Fighter at an Evo. Right. Like, hold on a sec.
Which, by the way, has held true to this day. No American has won Street Fighter Evo. The closest we've come to, I believe, was Punk in second place.
Yep.
So that statement is true. To this day, no one has won Street Fighter Evo from America.
Because I was like, one day, everyone's just like, yeah, you know, we gonna win Street Fighter, this, that, and the other thing. I was like, it's not happening. I'm just like, when you had trying to remember the Rose player from was that
the Rose player from who? Which one?
The Rose player that won Evo.
Oh, Luffy.
Yeah,
Luffy.
When Luffy beat
Who did he beat? I
damn
forgot.
it.
Was it
Sagat from Japan.
Bonchan?
Yeah. When Luffy beat Bonchan, I was like, y'all let them, you let
France?
you let Europe get a championship over before
Yo,
America?
and we used to crap on Europe. Like,
Yeah.
we were to Europe at one point what Japan was to us.
Right.
You know, with the exception of maybe Ryan Hart. You know, when it came to Street Fighter 4. So for context, the way the U.S. used to get defeated at Street Fighter 4 in tournament by Japan, we used to kind of hand, no disrespect to Europe, but hand them their butts, you know, besides, you know, one or two players.
Right.
Know. So
I was like, Reinhardt, you know, God among men.
yeah.
I'll never.
Yeah, of course. Ryan Hart. You know, I wish I can get him. I want to get him on the podcast one day.
I have nothing negative to say about Reinhardt. Very chill.
But they skipped their place in line that year, man. We were supposed to get that before.
I was sitting there, I'm just like, everyone's like, this is going to be our year. You know, we got Snake Eyes, Ricky, this, that, and the other thing. You know, this is the year. This is going to happen.
No disrespect to those guys. Those are some of the best players, you know, especially during the time of Street Fighter 4. So, of course, you know, it would be okay to root for them, you know, to win it all eventually. You know, but like you said, Luffy came through, you know, with the rose.
And then I started clowning. I was like, and I'm like, what? I'm like, Europe has won to your none. Prove me wrong. Everyone's like, man, DCB, I got nothing to say. I was like, of course you don't. So then we get into the infiltration era of Street Fighter 4, where Korea was put on the map. Even though Korea was already good in Tekken, but they weren't.
Yo, but nothing. Infiltration hung around. He took him a while before he won. He had a couple top 8s. You know, I remember I think it was 2011. I think he had the Scully on that year. I forgot who he was playing, man, but I think that was the year you had the Chung Lee player out from California that had that one good year, and he made the top 8. So it was a black kid. I forget his name. He didn't stay in community long. But that was I think Gamer B was in that top 8. Mm-hmm. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Right, I'm like infiltration. Then we had the infiltration years of dominance at Evo, and I'll go on record in saying Street Fighter Cross Tekken, probably the last best game Capcom release.
We discussed this. We discussed this, yes, and you and I recently.
Because Cross Tekken, for those that don't know, that game has so much potential. Yes, the gem system messed up stuff, and the tournament pack came out way too late. But as that tournament pack had came out like a year before, people will still be playing Cross Tekken right now.
I think so, yeah.
Cross Tekken teaches you the essence of a fighting game. How to play neutral, how to play footsies, how to properly space, how to properly zone. You know, it taught you everything. And in the way that things were shaping up, the whole team aspect, that had a lot of potential for fighting games. Because, I mean, had that game stuck around and the team aspect was still a thing, that could have been some capital dollars could have been brought in and more notice and on to the FGC.
Make a part 2, maybe.
Right. But we go into the infiltration years of dominance of Street Fighter. Ultra 4 was the last, you know, that 2015, 2016 going on, and 5 comes out.
Right.
Everything is still 5 new game, but same results. Right. You know, America getting washed. Then, you know, Punk comes around.
Not yet, because what happens is I think it was because you and I both went to 2016 Evo.
Yeah.
Was that the debut of the flags?
2015 was the debut of the flags.
Okay.
Because this is before 2015. Because 2016 was the first year they were Street Fighter V was the first year Evo moved into the Mandalay Bay for the Sunday finals and stuff.
Yeah.
But 2015 we were over at the old Hilton, the LVH, if you want to call it. That's when the flags came.
Okay.
Because I remember Gamer B and Infiltration were playing PR Balrog and Knuckle Dew. And before the arena, we're just in a big layout auditorium for finals day.
Yeah.
And there was 2 aisles where people can get up and walk around on Sunday. So I remember Gamer B was up, had his flag raised high in the sky, walking up and down the aisle.
Which is captured on the streams if you ever watch it.
Yeah, which was captured on the stream. And then Gamer B's wife took a picture of me holding the flag. Then when Infiltration was up, I think it was Infiltration versus Bog and Gamer B versus Knuckle Dew, or it might have been flipped. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
So then when Infiltration was up, I walked up to the same thing with the Korean flag. And everyone, I got so much heat, but it was so funny.
Now, did you ever get real heat about this? Did people really get upset at you?
Nah.
No?
No one ever got upset.
Like, not once? Because it seemed that way at times. It seemed that way. People are really disgusted with your player choices. I know. Okay, if people weren't actually upset at you, they definitely had heated discussions with you about it.
Yes, they had heated discussions. They're like, "Why are you selling out?" Like, I'm like, "Prove me wrong, win." It was my way of motivating them. I'm like, "Look, you want to prove me wrong?"
And I got that.
I'll stop with these flags till y'all actually win Evo.
That was definitely your way of motivating. I got that right away. So. And
then I remember at a final round one year when Haitani was playing Justin Wong, I stood up in the back with the Japanese flag. After Justin Wong lost, they zoomed in on me holding the flag. So, and then the 1 year Evo. Before they were doing promo for the first Evo Japan. I'm holding up Japanese flag.
Of course, yeah.
I'm on a promo for Evo Japan with the flag. People hit me up. They're like, I was like, why are my messages blowing up? My notifications blowing up. And people was like, yo, they're using you for promo for Evo Japan with the flag. I was like, oh, damn. Okay.
Cut you a check, man. Cut some royalties, man.
So I would always like hold the flags, and everyone always would see me in the crowd. They're just like, you heard like a lot of commotion during like finals at Evo. It's just me being me, and I'm like, get this American trash out of here. Like this, and I'm like, it's cute that America's trying to play Korea's game when it came to Tekken. Or it's cute when America's trying to play Japan's game when it came to Street Fighter. That's where it all comes from, But it's all in good nature, fun. I was very respectful with the flags and all.
Of course.
Like, it wasn't no whole, like, hey, hold the U.S. flag upside down. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Not trying to.
Never disrespected any flag.
People was getting disrespected and stuff. It was all good nature fun, all part of the character and all the draw heat. But yeah, I took some photos with Japanese players while holding the flag. I had like when what's the name, one Black Bison player, UK
Project
Project Problem X.
Problem X, thank you.
Problem X one had UK flag, pass it up to his homies. I was like, here you go, celebrate, enjoy. And I'm like, that's 2 for Europe, and still 0 for America. And then,
man, will we ever win? Will we ever win a Street Fighter?
See, here's the thing,
and we're close, right? We're close.
Yeah,
we've won Capcom Cups, right?
See, here's the thing, and here's my option select that I always tell people when it comes to the Hill DCB thing. I was like, yeah, we'll never win Evo, but we got Capcom Cups, and I'm like, they put Capcom Cup available to give America hope to win a major event because they definitely weren't winning Evo. And speaking of Capcom Cup, when the homie Knuckle Dude won Capcom Cup, yeah. And shout outs to Knuckle Dude, that's he's cool peoples, cause I stayed, Heel DCB stayed forever talking shit,
right?
Disrespecting USA players, this, that, and the other thing. Less than 5 minutes after he won Capcom Cup.
Oh man, you must have got the notifications blowing.
My notifications were blowing up from Facebook, and I was up in Jersey hanging out with my brother on that weekend. Hadn't seen my brother in a little bit. Now I drive up to Jersey, kick it with him. Then I'm on the way home, and I got my music playing, and I'm on the turnpike just chilling. Then we had to go pull over to the rest stop. And I'm like, why's my phone going off left and right? Because it was on vibrate or whatever. I look at Facebook, it's like 125 notifications. And I was just like, what the hell? Open up Facebook, message from Knuckle Dude. All that shit you was talking. That's what he posted on my wall. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna hold that for right now. I ain't gonna respond to shit. I gotta think of something to option select out of this. So I'm like, we gonna hold this till I get home to actually marinate on a proper response. So the whole community was
basically
like, America wins.
Pitchforks against you right now.
Right. So I get home, and that's when I was just like, they only made Capcom Cup for America, right? And everyone was just like, you always find a way, man. You always find a way. I was like, it's the truth, though.
Oh, man, so much fun, so much fun. Now, I can't remember, probably because I got traumatized. But what was the situation where you used me as an option select?
Oh, that was just something that came to mind, because I told people, because it was that NEC or whatever event was at
I think it was people were approaching you about the things you were saying.
It was Winter Brawl. It was a following Winter Brawl when we were at the casino or whatever. I don't know if it was NEC or casino.
NEC was casino.
Yeah. I had my Just Do It t-shirt that was custom made with the Knuckle Dude and the Summer Guile doing the flash kick. Yeah. Got a picture with Knuckle Dude, my thumbs up, American flag and everything. Everyone was just like, I can't believe this guy, man, on this whole America kick and everything. They're like, I'm like, what, man? I believed in you guys. I was like, they're like, but I was like, look, we good for right now. So then I was just like, let me spin this thing a little bit more. You know what I mean? So then I was just like, who else in the community that I can know that I could like put this whole thing on and like pin it on him? And, just as a joke. And then I seen you, and I was like, that's it. I was like, it's Rodney, dog. Wasn't me, man. So everyone was just like, really? They got pictures of you and everything.
People believed it, man.
Right.
And that was before the Photoshop.
Right. And I was like, look, all black people look the same. That's all I said, man. I was like, look, Rodney not 2 black people, big, you know what I mean? Same hairstyle, it wasn't me. Curtis, they got pictures of you on the promo. It wasn't me, man. I wasn't there. I was at home. I was home cooking bacon, dog. What you want to say, man?
Who did the Photoshop? Was it you?
No, it was Steve.
Oh, it was Steve. Yeah. Oh my God, man. Oh, he's right here. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve did the Photoshop. I hit up Steve. I was like, "Yo, Steve, take this photo, put Rodney's face on it."
You gonna show the photo?
I don't even have. You have to have. I don't even know where it's at the moment. I was like, "Yo, Steve, take this photo, put Rodney's face on it, holding the flags and everything." And Steve was like, "Oh hell yes!" And Steve was bugging out when I told him this whole thing. And I posted that thing on Facebook, and I'm like, "It was Rodney, dog." Like Kurt, but they got videos of you on YouTube and everything. I'm like, "It's Rodney, man."
It's up.
I was.
You have it up.
I'm like, I wasn't even at that event that weekend, man. Like, just like, dog, I just seen you in Philly. I'm like,
I started getting a little
nah,
message. Like, you really said that stuff, man? I'm like, no, man. Don't let him trick you. Come on, man.
I was at home.
And that went on for quite a bit.
Know, right. And I'm like, I didn't even know there was an event this weekend, dog. You know, that's what I would tell you.
Yo, I had people I didn't even know walk up to me, man. Like, yo, man, you say all that stuff? I'm like, I thought I was going to get jumped. You know?
So, I was like, this is perfect, you know? So it was all good fun, you know what I mean?
It's all fun and games, man, end of the day.
There you go. That photo. I was like, yo, Steve, Photoshop Rodney's face on it. You know, make it look legit. There you go.
Oh my God, man.
Set it up. Everyone was dying. I'm like, hashtag it was Rodney all along, dog. I'm just look, man, I was at home chilling. I didn't even know Combo Breaker was on that weekend, dog. So like, what the hell, Kurt? You were just in the hotel room. I was like,
wasn't me, man.
Wasn't me, man.
I was home. Oh,
I was home cooking bacon.
I know we're all suffering through like COVID, and it sucks, especially for our community, because we're really dependent on that offline camaraderie and just coming together. Like, aside that, what do you miss the most about not being able to go to events? Real
talk, like I just miss like the late nights at events. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like after the day one, the day two, you know, when it's just like the staff and like close friends and we're just all there, you know, talking, drinking, fellowshipping, you know, that's what I miss the most.
It's like another side, right? Like you come there and you're watching like the best players in your region or country, whatever, going at it, and then that's one aspect. And then you have like the after tournament, right? After day one to day two, you know, the casuals being played all night, just getting together, having a drink, a bite, you know, talking, hanging out. These are all things that are all part of the tournament. It's like one big party that just keeps going, you know, surrounding fighting games, and you know, it never ends. And that's what's so cool about coming to these events, man. That I would wish that people who still are part of this community but never had the gumption to come out, you know, hopefully when this is all over and things get somewhat some sort of normalcy again, we do this and you guys come out and see what you're missing, because it's just so much fun, and you get to meet crazy people like Curtis, who, you know, is gonna you know, welcome you into the community with open arms, man.
Right. So I'm just like, we're a very open and welcoming community, and I tell people this. I was like, we're probably the most welcoming community out of all communities, you know? Like, yeah, you're going to have to, like, prove yourself to, like, get like, respected and all, but as far as, like, a welcoming place where we want new people to come out and bring their friends, and, you know, that's what FGC is about, community. And that's what I miss the most, is just shooting the shit, hanging out with y'all face to face, like whether games are being played or not being played, you know. And shout outs to one of my favorite things about the Big E tournaments was James MK and R.I. Rest in Power remix, Nelson, man.
Yes, Rest in Power.
Me, James, Nelson, and me, after every Saturday night, after made at the late night Saturday night. The three of us would be outside just chopping it up for like 3-4 hours, knowing we got stuff to do on Sunday or whatever. But we would just be chopping it up for like 3-4 hours, like nothing. And then when Nels passed away, and James and I go to the first Winter Brawl where Nels not around, it just was that weird, surreal feeling like this dude like is actually gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Just
yeah, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know him, like, you know, the New York cats that played Marvel 2 with him and everything. But when we would just chop, you know, we just talk like no time had passed.
Right.
And yeah, we'd just be bullshitting, having fun, drinking and other stuff, you know. But it hurt. It really hurt to hear when he passed away. And it was just like messed with my head a little bit, you know. And the same can be said about Blue Jay. Rest in power to him. He passed away from COVID.
Yes, recently.
You know, Blue Jay would always, I made him a cable bead. That was his man's. I made him a cable bead spray, and every time he would see me at a big, because I only would see him at big events, because, you know, he was always playing Marvel 2 and stuff. Right. He's like, oh man, we gonna have Marvel 2 stuff in stock, Brian. You know you gotta support. I was like, you know, I got you, man. Just let me know what you need. And that's the thing he would always tease me about was the NEE tournament. Where's the Marvel 2 stuff at, man? I need another cable. I need Psylocke. I need my MSP, dog. Like, you got to hook it up, man. Like, Curtis, hook it up. So that hurt to hear, you know, what happened to him. And I was a little upset. You know, I couldn't say officially goodbye to him. Right. Because the whole situation, like the COVID. Yeah,
COVID was just like, it sucked, man. And for those that don't know, we're such a small community, but we're also close. And if we don't know someone directly, we definitely know someone that knows them. And it's like, you know, I personally didn't know the two gentlemen you mentioned before, but I definitely heard of them. And I know their contributions to the community. And I don't have to know the person to know that they'll be missed, they're respected. And it hurts me too. It hurts me too because they're still somewhere, they're extended family. You know, they're part of this community that, you know, for all its downs, it has a lot of ups too, and a lot of things to be proud of. And
so, like, you hear a lot of negative stuff about the community, but the positives always outweigh the negatives. And like you said, we're like one of the most tight-knit communities. Like, yeah, it's small, and you see people at various tournaments and stuff. Right. And, you know, you see one person and you get to know them, and then you see them again, you still talking, and then you form like long-lasting friendships and bonds like over these years, you know. Like I said, I watched a lot of people come and go in this community. Watched a lot of people grow up in this community, like Sonic Fox, for example.
Fox, we all watch him grow up.
We all watched Dominique grow up to see what Sonic has become in this era of FGC.
He's still young with a lot more to go.
Right. So such a prodigy of what he's doing. You know, it's good to see Sonic succeeding. But like I said, I miss is just the chopping it up with folks more than anything. Right. Because I'm always a social butterfly, as my wife calls me.
You are the social butterfly.
Okay. Yeah, she's like, you're so open and outspoken, and I talk to people even if I don't know you. You know what I mean? That's just how I was raised. And I just miss that whole aspect of you and Steve just manning the KPB station of a tournament in the back or whatever, and I could just come down, sit down, bullshit with y'all between matches and stuff.
Still something that we need, and having to go looking for it.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
You know, all of a sudden
I
the
don't-
entire mix is gone mid production. Like how does that work?
Look, I needed that.
But yeah, man,
But
definitely. Like it's such a good feeling to be around these people. And we, end of the day, we all have our personal lives, our joys and our stresses that we go back home to. But as I did a earlier episode today, and I was saying that we kind of come into this community to kind of get away from that, to get away from life just for a little bit. We know life is there; it's always going to be there, but sometimes we need an escape. And this was one of these things that really served a great escape from like the everyday norm and the everyday, grind that we have. That's life, for like a little, excitement and fun.
that's what I tell people. I'm just like, everyone's like, I have friends. Most of my lifelong friends I've known since grade school, and I'm still in contact with them to this day. And they're just like, you've never changed, man. You're still gaming, this, that. Because they'll hit me up about games and this, that. Like, yo, I'm about to get this console. What should I get? I'm like, well, you should get XYZ because that's how I've always been. And just like, you never changed. And you always use video games as a get, like they say video games is a getaway from real life, and it's true. Right. It's like when you're playing that game, you're not thinking about stress and other troubles and problems that you got going on.
You're not thinking about the fact that the world is literally burning around you,
right? And that's what I tell people. I was like, gaming's always been my stress reliever and my getaway from real life issues going on. Because everyone knows me, I don't really talk about politics and the whole black versus white, the whole race issues and stuff. And yeah, I could because of the influence that I have on people, but I let other people that are more spoken or better qualified to speak on that than me. Like you, for example. I'll tune in and watch you when you talk about the very sensitive issues and stuff that's going on with the world and how messed up things are. Because I just don't like speaking out on it.
All right, it's just something like it's hard not to speak on it for me. And I don't blame anyone that doesn't. It's just that as a black person in this world, it affects us. It affects us daily. We go through a lot of it. And everything. I sometimes feel even being black in the FGC is sometimes a little different. Especially with the things that we do. Steve and I get into broadcasting, the opportunities that are there or not there, depending on who you ask. And those things, I feel like race plays a part. I try not to dwell on it, and we have a model where we like to let our work speak for ourselves, but sometimes it's not enough, And I'm sure you're the same thing too. You've let your personality speak for yourself. You've let your work speak for yourself. I for a time DCB was officially Capcom licensed roller, and I know we won't get into how that came about, but I know just having that to you, I know that must have been like a sense of achievement for you.
Right, it was a sense of achievement, and and to touch on the whole black subject, I was legitimately one of the only black sponsored sponsors for tournaments and all, you know what I mean? And people just looked at me, they're just like, wow, you actually, and I was like, look, man, gotta support people that let me do what I want to do. Right. That was my whole.
I think it's just you giving. This community I've watched just gives you so much love, and I know, like, for you as a good person, you just give it back. You get all that love, you can't keep it to yourself, man. You gotta give it back.
And I tell people, everyone's looked at it like, you're still the same person you were. I'm like, look, because I'm not gonna let anything change me. I'm just the same old me that you met when you came into the FTC, till me as a kid to now. I'm just like, my priorities just changed, because I can't live for myself anymore. I have a tiny human that's dependent on me. And that's where everything's going to now. I'm just like, look, I got to provide for my kid. Kid
Right.
comes before everything else.
Of course.
So that's why I'm out here hustling on these.
Because
these
one day
gigs.
she's gonna win Street Fighter, and you're gonna be happy
Hope
about it.
she wins whatever she wants to do. I'm gonna be there supporting.
Of course,
as
there's always
long as
Street Fighter.
as long as I'm around, I will support anything and everything she does because she's very full of energy and active, and she's very smart for her age. And I'm like, whatever she wants to do, Daddy will be there to support her. Whether it's some sort of sports, I'll be in the stand every home game chilling. So
That's
screaming and yelling
be.
at the top of my lungs, you know what I mean? Because that's what it is. Because that little one is my everything right now.
Of course. I'm happy for you. Happy for your family and everything that's going on for you. Before we go, man, give me some parting words, man. Some shout outs. Give me something.
All right. Honestly, I just want to shout out you guys. I appreciate you coming through and hitting me up, asking me if I want to do this. I had no issue, because it's just furthermore content to be created because we all are content creators and in this day and age, and especially being people of color, we always got to support one another and further getting our brands and names out there in this world of media, content creation, and all the, to show that, there's room for everybody out here, and, people got to grow and support one another. I want to give a shout out to all the TOs that held me down at tournaments and all. Like shout outs to E, Larry, Rick, Combo Breaker, Evan from Game and Gen, Chris from Northwest Majors, Choi and Seglia and Canadian from NorCal Regionals, Jabali for CEO, Joe and Li Joe and Johnny for ECT. Like any tournament that in the Texas community, I miss you guys a lot too. I was literally looking forward to Texas Showdown with Jace and Javier. People that don't know, like Texas Showdown and Combo Breaker are probably my two favorite tournaments outside of my region that I always came into to support and stuff because I've been with Combo Breaker since day one as a vendor, and Texas Showdown been going down there for 4 years now, I think.
Okay.
So, and Javier has always treated me like one of their own when I come down there. So shout outs to the whole Texas community. Shout y'all guys out, KPB. Y'all definitely fam. I appreciate everything and all y'all do for me. Like I said, anytime you want to have me on, just to shoot.
Yeah, man, we'll do more, themed episodes to definitely get you back on here at some point.
I'll definitely just hit me up, come through. Shout out to the homies in the DMV, miss y'all, miss my Delaware community. I miss all the FGCs, all the communities that know me, say hello. Anyone that said hello or purchased something from me, over these last 8 years I've been doing this Perler stuff. So shout out to all you guys that have supported me along the way. I do stream. You can find me on twitch.tv / Dynamic Beadworks. You can also follow me on the Twitter at Dynamic Beadwork. I post up my stream updates and all when I'm going live because we do playing a lot of Dead by Daylight. That seems to be the retirement game for FGC folks because a lot of FGC folks play DBD. If you did not know, Fnatic, he used to play. He used to play DBD for a little bit with the homie Ralph from the South. He's from Kentucky. Them two used to chop it up. Sonic Fox plays DVD from here and there. A lot of people in FGC play DVD. They all turn to me and look at me like, "You've been on this?" I'm like, "Been on this game since day one." I'm like, "What do you want to know?" So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to the DVD community for welcoming me in. You know, and definitely shout out to my fams, my family. You know, that helped me out, support. You know, and I got nothing but love for everybody. You know, and anytime anyone need me, my DMs is open. Any time of the day, night, whatever you need to talk or whatever, just hit me up. I also want to shout out to homie Coach Steve. That's my
Coach Steve.
Coach Steve is another good person. And like I said, shout out to all my DCB peoples. And that's about it, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Betts, aka Dynamic Custom Beadworks, for coming on the show today.
I appreciate it, man.
It's been a blast. It was fun talking to you, man. And we definitely got to get you back on at some point. You know, to shoot more shit.
Yeah, definitely, man. Just like I said, let me know. Hit me up.
Of course,
I'm
man.
always down, man.
That being said, this is Bottomless Prime. I want to wish you guys a good day, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Also, thanks, Rodney, for hosting my show.
This has been a KPB MediaWorks production.